Welcome to UEOM Internet Church, September 25th, 2024, Episode 10. Since launching my UEOM Internet Church, September 4, 2024, 9 episodes have been posted online. This is episode number 10. It will be written, recorded, and published on the internet as I continue to typewrite each page printed out from my desktop computer, repeating these steps with each episode since purchasing an inexpensive printer, keeping to the self-discipline. Printing the pages is a great help for organizing what otherwise seems impossible to trace back in a memory to a preceding thought and its referential resource, some of which includes a link. As a result, a type of booklet seems to be forming. Of course, some of it will require further editing out the overlooked errors. Throughout TUCP, the Universal Communications Process, my personalized reactions of this self-inaugurated education process, my synergetic mind and metaphysical intellect, continue to vacillate in ranges between certainty and doubt, momentarily trusting and distrusting the public forum, as well as the computer technology of it. Its power to interfere with self-initiated evolution explorations, the naturally spontaneous trial and error tuning in and tuning out intuition, while composing a developing thought truly is beyond one's ability to avoid such unwanted interferences, both online and offline. Primarily because the desktop computer word process functions require turning on the computer, which goes online, thereby providing unknown entities access to surreptitiously play games, imperviously indifferent to privacy and to the absolute necessity of independently coordinated thought and language. As anticipatory mind consciously receives unexpected word clues. Those words may well be from some developing aspect of the collective unconscious, or my own brain's recording words from the many books I've read from childhood, or from articulated words in variously presented formats to which I may have paid some slight attention, but nevertheless it was stored potentially for an eventual recollection. Normally I hesitate, but write the word that pops into my head. When time permits, I look it up in the dictionary, accepting the word or realizing it sounds like what I was trying to iterate in written form but proves to be inaccurate, then I reject it. Either way, it is a word from memory stored in my brain's soft computer that momentarily is consciously unknown to my personalized integral cerebral network that logically is designed by UEOM, as this would be true for every human's individual brain. Could such intuitive word clues, when developing a cogent thought, be referred to and classified as the transceiver brain traffic, the cosmic stream? In any event, unexpected words when developing a thought happens during the writing process. It is received thus by thinking selves communicating intention, whether it is to make the content public or saved as a personal journal. The word clue may or might not be relevant to synergetic mind's attempts to put in order the scientific facts of its observed experiences as an underway messaging by metaphysical intellect's consciously coordinated thought-language functioning of omnirational universe. Such a developing thought is never, when lawfully considered, to be the property of any authoritative governing system's ability to shut down the writing process just because it may have installed a duplicate desktop drive as a backup. The technology is not necessarily understood by anyone who can be earnestly trying to put in order the cogently discoverable facts of its unconscious, subconscious, consciously evolving experiences. Typing on the computer keyboard involves focused concentration, not on saving each and every written word in the developing sentences when following a particular train of thought in fear of losing it to a shutdown. Besides, how can metaphysical intellect, synergetic mind also be aware of the time lag rates between two desktops on one computer, which well may lose some words that were barely fleetingly grasped by the composing mind-brain, that may be irretrievable regardless of the supposed backup? While it might seem to be a technological authorized interference of no real consequence, to the research writer's intuitive investigative writing process, it most definitely registers degrees of lost freedoms that are closely related to an innate self-confidence that is momentarily shattered by the insult. Any unwanted interference is a type of imposition and is potentially insulting to exploring intellect's concentrated focus, whether on one's own desktop computer or while trying to focus on the internet content. The affront by differently motivated computer technology specialized profit margins grows increasingly less concerned about violating the recognizable, inherently inviolable integrity of the individual. This is happening on the internet as each click distracts one's focus, redirecting the expectation to some unrelated, unexpected content, a maneuver that seems to be innovating specifically to capture the inquisitive searching mentality to consume something else entirely. Clicking on and off, tuning in and tuning out, treating the human self-validating consciousness evolution as a will-o'-the-wisp. As if the insignificant mind-brain whose discovery will become unrealizable anyway. So, why not treat its inquisitive local problem-solving functioning more like an illogical, brainless consumer who exists solely to purchase more artifacts and products that have nothing directly to do with the intellectual pursuit of knowledge? The cognizable and recognizable universe communications process requires consciousness evolution, awareness of reliable resource technology, which naturally is of a greater regenerative value, correlating to the metaphysical truth that produces the commonwealth of human life support, than devising perniciously money-making schemes at our humanity's expense. Such misguiding schemes all too often cultivate imperviousness and indifference to discoverable unity of universe, which is referentially written about by a lower number of humans whose discovering inputs are barely registering in the public square, the social media platforms, that seem to value the PRJW, politics, religion, justice, war, weaponization, more than learning about the metaphysical truth that produces the commonwealth of human life support. The metaphysical truth that produces the commonwealth of human life support is relatively less complicated compared to anything humans are adapting to in TUCP, residual reenacting, articulating inaccuracies. Those are the EISEDP, experiences, intuitions, speculations, experiments, discoveries, productions amongst human events that are emanations from the human condition. Synergetics 502.22. It is a conceptuality of the universe's vector equilibrium, four-dimensional hexagonal cross-sections where the radials and the circumferential vectors balance, as we can read in Synergetics 430.02. The tendency to implode and explode is why this conceptual system is called the vector equilibrium. Awareness of the explosive, implosive, balanced, equal forces also identifies synergetic mind's conceptuality of universe's equanimity that otherwise would not be referentially informed of these phenomena that share the same design in both the physical and metaphysical universe. Equal forces in exact balance correspond with 21st century humanities, our anticipatory design, science's metaphysical generalized conceptioning fields of thought. At long last, the regenerating integrity of it can be included in TUCP once humans of a mind are informed of this vector model. The conceptuality of the vector equilibriums, radial and circumferential vectors, the 8 triangular faces, the 4 hexagonal cross sections, and 6 square faces designate where the half octahedron converges. The convergence is at the common vector equilibrium nuclear vertex that coincides with awareness of the 12 uniradius spheres around one nuclear sphere. The awareness is rudimentary to further inquiry and a conceptuality of the metaphysical truth that produces the commonwealth of human life support, which is less conflicting when systemic thought requires explicable conceptual model of equanimity, which also provides indisputable correlation when considering UIVMOFCH, Universe Isotropic Vector Matrix Operational Field Cosmic Hierarchy, as the cosmic logical regenerating pattern integrity replacement of the long-awaited obsolescence of the PRJWBCHM, politics, religion, justice, war, belief, complex hierarchical matrix. The PRJWBCHM has perpetuated crime, corruption, and the slave mentality conditioning everywhere on Earth. Describing the UIVMOFCH vector equilibria require a basic familiarity with the vector flexor jitterbug model that anyone can imaginably associate with closest packing 12 uniradius spheres around a nuclear sphere independent of size, time, space, sizing, once informed that such metaphysical generalized conceptioning refers to those spheres. Not treating the jitterbug model as a relatively clueless toy, but as a bona fide correlation to eventually manifesting equanimity in the human condition, since the vector equilibrium is the equanimity model. Synergetics 443, vector equilibrium as equanimity model. Our humanity has been so preoccupied facilitating and accommodating the PRGWBCHM, coupled with the internet computer technology's imperviousness concerning what can be described as human consciousness evolution's participation to seek cosmic zero, which involves synergetic minds, metaphysical intellect's inquisitive research into the conceptualization of activating, self-actualizing's full-size range thought accommodation process. This awareness is of omnidirectional, not linear, eternally inclusively metaphysical intellect, synergetic minds, inquiry into spherical conceptioning, the metaphysical generalized conceptioning fields of systemic thoughts, consciousness evolution when reminded that systems always alter other systems. Having the VE system in mind initiates a totally different economic accounting than anything concocted from ancient histories of the PRJWBCHM. Logically, there has to be the minimum structural systems interrelating nuclear domain, integrally to synergetic minds, anticipatory design science, realities. There is every logical reason to suppose the metaphysical truth that produces the commonwealth of human life support emanates from centers of energy rebirths, which are vector equilibrium empty theaters, the empty universe where anything can happen. But perhaps for the first conceptual clarifying moment, omnicomprehensively inclined metaphysical intellect's consciousness evolution has a self-otherness validation generalized conceptioning field in mind, even though it is less fleetingly subsequent to R. Buckminster Fuller Synergetics' concise descriptions of otherwise overlooked, totally disregarded, relevantly to our evolving species, humans of a mind, the mind of universe, which we can easily allude to by the sound word UEOM, when consciously coordinating anticipatory design science thought and language referentially to the omnirational equanimity models, 24 vectors, 6 square faces, 8 triangular faces, omnidirectionally correlating to the 6 positive and the 6 negative degrees of freedom. Until next time, thank you from Christina, Universe Citizen.